All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday, and welcome to the Fort Worth Community Arts Center's weekly series, Boxed Lunch. Today, we have a fabulous lunch guest with us today. Please help me in welcoming Miss Tyler Grant. How you doing today, Tyler?
Great, Jason. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me. This is exciting.
Yes, we are so very excited to have you. The holidays are upon us, and I can't wait to see what it is you've got planned for lunch today. So before we get started, do you mind just taking a second and introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do?
Sure. My name is Tyler Grant. I've lived in Fort Worth about 4 years now. I work for Center for Transforming Lives, which is a nonprofit that provides comprehensive services for women and families who are transitioning from homelessness and abusive relationships through homeless services. So we provide on-site housing for single women and housing for families in the community. We have economic mobility services that provide financial coaching and career coaching for individuals in the community. And we have early childhood education centers throughout Tarrant County. When I'm not working and when we're not in a pandemic, I love to listen to live music and travel. This time last year, I was on my way to Brooklyn, actually, for the holidays. So very different this year, but this is the safest way to go. So here I
am. Now, where are you from originally? You say you've only been in Texas for 4 years. Where'd you come from?
Yeah, so I'm a native Texan. I was born in San Antonio, but my dad actually also worked in fundraising. So we moved like 5 times before, like 5 states before I graduated high school. So I've lived all over, but most recently, before living in Fort Worth, I lived in Denver, Colorado.
Nice. And if I read the bio correctly, you're also and let's see if I do this right, a Baylor Bear. Is that right? A graduate
That's
of
right.
Baylor Bears?
Yeah. Chicken Bears, you got it.
Well, we are so glad to have you, and just sounds like some incredible work. It's hard enough to deal with these issues that we've had plaguing us for ever, and then lump a pandemic in on top of that, and I can only imagine that it has been a challenge beyond challenges to try to wrap our minds around some of these additional stresses, especially when you're working in those particular industries. So before we get all into that, what's on your lunch menu for today?
Yes, so I had a late breakfast. So today I will be decorating some cookies that I made yesterday. These are my favorite. Again, in normal times, I would bring these to a party or something, but they're funfetti cookies, or some people call them cake mix cookies. So if I can just jump on in, what you do is get some cake mix, in this case, funfetti, because who doesn't like sprinkles and celebration and things like that, you put the cake mix in, just a couple of eggs, half a cup of the oil of your choice. And if you're me, you add extra sprinkles to the cake mix for some extra color, which is how we get the kind of rich texture you can see there.
Beautiful.
So, thanks. So yeah, 350, 10 minutes in the oven, and I'm going to add, sadly they were out of the funfetti frosting, but I got some vanilla, so we're just going to do some vanilla on top for some funfetti cake mix cookies.
Awesome. Yeah, us artists, we have a love-hate relationship with glitter. So that seems pretty close to that. And there'll be some people that say, oh, that's beautiful. And then others are going to probably say, does that stay with you for years on end once you've had the cookies themselves? So it's nice to see. So I am taking on one of my favorites, which is barbecue. I love any kind of barbecue, all kinds of barbecue, and we'll see if I can't start a debate today. I'm going to be going with some barbecue chicken sliders today. And so I just took, deboned some chicken, and then took that, chopped it up a little bit more, and have that ready. So I'm just going to throw that in a little saucepan. But here's where the debate comes. Today I'm using Carolina barbecue sauce, which of course is a vinegar based. And there's all kinds of debate about North barbecue and South barbecue. So hopefully I don't disrupt anyone's favorite things today, but I am a fan of this as well, and looking forward to enjoying some of this tangy mustard. So while we visit, I'll throw the chicken in, mix it up with the barbecue, and then I have some slider buns for when all of that is ready. All set, Tyler?
Yep, all set.
All right, well, here comes my first question as we start moving through our lunch. And I'm very curious when you talk about the organization that you work within specifically. How have you guys been dealing with homelessness, but also the COVID-19 pandemic? I can only imagine that pivot is a minimal word for your organization. And I'm real curious to see how you guys have been handling that throughout the course of 2020.
Yes. So I mentioned earlier that we have on-site housing for single women. That is at our downtown Fort Worth location. And there we can house 30 women at a time. And then we have various sites in the community. We have some relationships with some local landlords. And so through those relationships, we're able to house families. And then we actually have some generous donors who will, from time to time, provide, a house or their own, rental property for our families to use. So those are solutions that we have used in the past and are still using currently. And through the pandemic, as you mentioned, we pivoted quite a bit. We actually were able to receive some CARES Act funding. So we've been able to, yes, provide rental assistance dollars to families in need in the community who have been affected by the pandemic. We've also received this past year a multi-million-dollar grant in Head Start funding.
Oh, wow.
So I mentioned that we have early education centers. So in the past, we've supported kiddos aged 0 to 3, and now we are supporting kiddos aged 0 to 5. So we've been able to double our impact of working with children throughout Tarrant County, which is incredible.
Yes.
Sorry?
I said, yes, absolutely incredible.
Thanks. Yeah. We kind of like this have been able to transition to Zoom, and our case managers have been able to work with their clients virtually and over the phone. We have a Facebook page that we created. I think it's called CTL Family, and it's basically resources for our clients to be able to share with each other and for case managers to share directly, food banks that are offering, resources at a certain time, or therapy in the community, things like that. As I'm sure you're aware, mental health has deteriorated for a lot of people over the course of the pandemic. And so our ladies who are working with, mental health professionals on our team have been able to go a little bit deeper, and our team has just been extra intentional to make sure that they are supporting our clients in every way that, they can. The last thing, because I realize this is kind of a long list, but we've been doing a lot.
This is important information, so you go as long as you would like.
Thanks, Jason. We have had a campaign called CTL Cares, and that is an effort that's been able to support families in the community and communities individuals in our community who have just needed support for utilities, for things, basically anything that you can think of beyond rent assistance, for taking care of their families. And so we are just so grateful to our donors, to our hardworking case managers, our counselors, teachers. They've all really come together this year to support our families who, as you said, have already had hard times, that that have just been compounded by the effects of COVID-19.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And I think this is just imperative to know. So we'll touch on this at the end of the interview too. But with the holidays coming up, I think it's imperative that we continue to mention these resources.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who wants to support or help or donate, where can they go to be a part of that and lend some assistance to these fabulous opportunities?
Thanks for asking. Yes, folks can go to our website at transforminglives.org. There's a little blue button at the top of the website that says donate, or you can go to transforminglives.org/donate. And we are actually having our holiday campaign now called Hope for Holidays. And so folks can give in a couple of different increments to provide hope for our families. So many of them are moving into their own space for the first time in a while, for some of them months, for some of them years. And as you can imagine, they're going in with essentially the clothes on their back. And so this campaign will provide families with laundry items, cleaning supplies, household items like brooms, mops, laundry baskets, things like that to outfit their home as they move in with their family.
That just incredible, absolutely incredible. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here,
Okay.
and some of this is really just for my own personal curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of people assume that things have been tedious this year. Have you seen an increase in homelessness, in abuse? I cannot imagine that those rates aren't going up, along with the fact that the CARES Act ended. Now we're in this transition into this new bill that they've started hopefully voting on today. Can you talk a little bit about why it is important, especially now with the holidays, with the tumultuous year we've had in 2020? I just cannot imagine that cases have not increased. And so it seems to me that there's probably even more necessity to lend a hand if people are able. And what have you seen on that increase? Did it start in March? Have you seen it go up as we've gone through this? What have you really experienced in terms of numbers in 2020?
Yeah, I haven't been briefed recently on specific numbers, but I can say that there definitely has been an increase. Anytime that folks are in a not so great situation, let's say interpersonal violence, things are only getting worse when they may have lost their job or faced a cutback in hours and are stuck inside with their abuser in some cases, or in some cases we've had women who have been able to escape a situation and then they are in their car with their kiddos, or staying on the floor of their family member's place because they have nowhere else to go. And so we've seen some not so great situations deteriorate, but we have also seen been able to provide support for families who are in those situations. So every bit that somebody gives, whether it be to volunteer or to make a monetary donation, that will go to helping another family get out of a not so great situation, helping kiddos who may not have had access to Wi-Fi or intellectual stimulation over the holidays, help them get books and things to stay engaged.
Yeah, just again, the assets you guys are providing is just absolutely incredible. You mentioned mental health, and I think that people have been a little desensitized to being able to recognize mental issues. And I really am curious to see the after effects of all of this, because, I believe that once things starts settling a little bit, there is going to be some repercussions of mental health. And I hope people are able to understand that a lot of what they're feeling nowadays really is just because of this drastic change in our ability to process the things that are going on around us. So there's been a lot of talk about mental health, and I certainly hope that as we move through these next years and people continue to ask, why do I feel this way, that there are some opportunities for them to try to understand what it is that's going on. I think a lot of people misconceive a bad day for 6 months of stress.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, what you're doing is absolutely incredible and needed just absolutely now more than ever. So what have you learned about yourself during all of this? You've done all this great work and help all of these people. How are you holding up, and what is it you've learned about yourself in these situations?
Yeah, well, I'm a bit of a busybody in that I have a hard time sitting still. And I, in normal times, would, run from event to event, and like I mentioned, traveling. And part of that is just, I like to have things to look forward to, but also I just had a hard time, honestly, like sitting still, going to the mental health thing with my own thoughts. And yeah, as an extrovert, this pandemic has been really hard. But over the course of this past year, I've learned to get comfortable with, sitting in silence, taking time for myself, like being comfortable with just doing nothing. Like I have so many friends who will like burn through a show on Netflix, on the weekend, and I would feel like guilty for doing that, if that makes sense, because it's not productive. And that's silly. Like we all need time to decompress in whatever way that looks like, if it's Netflix or painting or whatever your recreational creative kind of outlets are. And so yeah, I'm proud to say this past weekend I sat and watched like 4 episodes of Never Have I Ever, and I didn't feel bad about it. I've been like sleeping in and like not beating myself up about it. So this has been a time for me to learn, I guess, how to take better care of myself. And like a friend was saying the other day, let myself be human.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of us are learning to readjust our daily schedules and things that really kept us grounded for so long. And it's been quite interesting to talk to folks that I'm aware of that enjoy all of these other opportunities, and really how they've tried to find a way to replicate the enjoyment and redirect the energy. So so what has become some of your favorite ways to pass the time through all of this?
Yeah, so previously and now, lots of podcasts. We were talking in our warm up a little bit about podcasts. Actually, so I mentioned that my dad worked in fundraising, and I work in fundraising as of a year and a half ago. And when I started this position, it's kind of things have evolved. Our major gifts officer was out on maternity leave for the first portion of the pandemic, and so I got to jump into making asks and just doing more like real, boots on the ground fundraising. And I had a lot of questions, and my boss and team were super supportive. But I said, well, I have a resource in my dad who's been doing fundraising for like 30 years now, so might as well tap into that. And so we actually started a series ourselves called Father-Daughter Fundraising. And so, yeah, so for a while it was weekly, and now it kind of doesn't feel like it, but we will have conversations about what does nonprofit fundraising look like, what are the challenges of it, how do supporters of nonprofits get into continuing to support local nonprofits and causes that they love, maybe start their own nonprofit, if you will. So that's been really fun. I used to belong to a gym, and then I said, this probably isn't the best use of my money at this time. And so I joined Camp Gladiator, which is, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's like outdoor fitness. And
Right?
so you bring your weights and yoga mat to like a park or, virtually, and, do fitness in a bit of a different way. It's kind of like aerobics meets body pump. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. So that's been fun. I think that's been a big I know that's been a big help for my mental health is like doing something active most days, whether it be Camp Gladiator or just like getting out of my apartment and walking around and just looking at the trees and dogs and getting some sunshine in.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Jason?
Well, I've been very fortunate to stay involved with the Arts Center through all of this. I have to say one of my guilty pleasures is binge watching. And I did that before, so I was pretty much caught up on most of those episodes, but there have been a few things that I've been able to kind of revisit and enjoy as well. I have to say, I've said this to a few of my close friends and associates. When you're in the arts, you get a little desensitized, if you will, to productions and things because you're behind the curtain. And so you know how a lot of the things work. Music to me has always been a very emotional consumption. And I'm happy to say that it still holds the same power that it has throughout all of my experiences in the art world. And I have really dove into that audio experience. There's a lot of stuff that we're seeing and doing, and it's just been really nice to literally just put on a pair of headphones and kind of go away. So I've really been enjoying a lot of musical opportunities, revisiting different generational music, different types of music, and no matter what, music always is able to emotionally engage me. And so I've leaned very heavily on that. We've had some wonderful albums released this year, and so that's been a saving grace. I was really taken with the way the music industry itself pivoted.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of this, we had a lot of opportunity to see several artists and organizations that went online very quickly. And two specifically really stuck out to me this year and motivated me to stay engaged artistically, helped open some of the doors to get my mind around how we were going to advance ourselves as an organization. And one of those was Willie Nelson does a concert every year around the 4th of July. He did that from his ranch this year in Austin, and it was quite moving. And I've said this on a couple of podcasts and a couple of box lunches myself. Lollapalooza this year went virtual, and it has motivated me from the weekend I saw it to this day. And the way that those artists were able to bridge a lot of these gaps very quickly in terms of virtual presence, branding, and things that they had never done before. Music has kept me alive this year, and I am very grateful to that. And when you work in the arts, sometimes you have to have a little bit of bias and buy-in. And music to me has always been a saving grace, and I'm glad that that's continued, and it has been something that I have leaned heavily on. And there's nothing better than just closing your eyes and letting something else work into those brain waves that are constantly rotating and those gears that are turning. So music's been huge to me. I'm curious, where can we find your podcast with your father before we move off and away from that?
Sure, yeah. It's on LinkedIn and my Facebook currently. So we post videos there. We haven't converted them to, podcast format yet.
Right.
But yeah, Tyler Grant on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Nice. Well, we'll circle that around again as well to make sure that people know where to find those things. And I appreciate you asking me about my go-to things. Sometimes I get a little wrapped up in what everybody else is doing, and it's fun to hear yourself sometimes say, "Oh wow, that was a saving grace for me," because I know that as we get locked into all of the things that we try to do, sometimes it's hard to recognize and realize that there are some buoys for your own mental health that you may not even have been aware of. And so when you can hear it out loud, it certainly is something to latch on to when people are continuing to find some positives in 2020. So thank you for that. And I'll probably listen to a new album tonight as well.
Yeah, you've inspired me to check out. I've honestly never sat down and listened to Willie Nelson before, but I'm going to check out this 4th of July performance.
He's just such a fan. And you know, I'll throw this little pitch out as well. I'm sure they don't need my endorsement. But the band Tool released an album finally after years and years and years. And that was another saving grace. That's a multi-listening experience. And I've been a fan of theirs forever. They go many years before you get some new material. And Tool and Pearl Jam really kept me alive, and I'm so glad because both of them actually released new albums recently, and so yeah, they have kept me afloat. So
it's like they said, this is for you, Jason.
Yeah, no doubt. I have certainly held a lot of that stuff close to my own heart this year, and it has kept me going for sure. So so how are your cookies coming? I know that Christmas is coming up. I don't want to make this all doom and gloom. And while some of those assets that people provide, oh my goodness, look at that.
I'm not adding any more sprinkles because we're not trying to promote diabetes here. But so good. Yeah.
It's the holidays. Surely we can have a little sugar on these holiday weeks. So I say just decorate it as much as you want, go overboard, and then just eat one less.
Balance, yes. What were you asking about the holidays?
I was just saying that there shouldn't be any limitations to how many cookies you eat, what sugar goes into what. And after this crazy year that we've had, I would think all bets are off on diet for at least maybe just a 24 to 48 hour window as we wrap this year up. So what are you most looking forward to in 2021? And I know that there's probably some obvious things that could easily be referenced, but I'm curious, what are you most excited about in 2021?
Okay, first, you know, reaction is, of course, things opening up and being able to like see my friends again and just like hug people that I haven't seen in, you know, months. Hug people and not feel weird about it, you know, or like scared of transmitting something. Also just for like a collective fresh start. I tend to be like, it's a new day, it's a new chance kind of person. But I've heard so many people say they're just so done with this year. Yeah. So with that, I'm excited for us all to move forward into a fresh start, a new beginning. Sounds so cliche, that's what we all say about a new year, but this will be hopefully actually different.
Yeah, I could not agree more. So we've had a lot of obvious negatives in 2020. Can you talk to me a little bit about a particular positive that you've had yourself in 2020, or something that that helped lift you up that you consider to be a high point in the year?
So many little things. I'm overthinking. Sorry. Okay. I have some friends who actually own a place in Granbury, and I had never been to Granbury before. And I just took a couple of days to do a solo vacation because I had a couple of days off of work to use. And so it was just really nice just to kind of have that personal reset. And it was the middle of the summer. So that was like a really nice time to just be alone and get away and do my own thing. Actually, some of my friends were like, can we come? And I was like, oh, I kind of just want to have that like personal time to just like reflect, refresh. And so that was a personal highlight for me.
Nice. Yeah. Good. Glad you had some positives as well. So now you said you were going to Brooklyn last year for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
How are you dealing with the holidays this year in these crazy times? What is your game plan, if you don't mind sharing it? And I'm just curious to hear how others are coping and managing the holidays.
Definitely, yeah. So my parents actually live here in Fort Worth, and so we have been quarantining, respectively, the past couple of weeks, and so can confidently go and visit them for Christmas. And so we're going to spend Christmas together. Not doing anything special in particular when we spend Christmas together, just going to be grateful that we get to do that. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There's some presents I'm receiving this year that have nothing to do with opening a gift or any of that. And yeah. So I'm glad that you have some family close to you and able to have that opportunity to share with them as well, because I know that that is going to be an extremely valuable gift to many. And I can't wait to see some of the presents that are opened after Christmas. And I'm very curious to see the ones that don't necessarily involve shopping or a gift tag, and how people are able to recognize what a blessing it is to be here on Christmas morning. There's many that won't. And I hope people are able to understand that I think one of the greatest gifts that we're going to get this year is just the ability to venture into 2021 with some empowerment in what we believe we know. So have you worked on your New Year's resolutions yet? Are you a resolution person or a non-resolution person? And do you have anything that you're willing to share with us that you're going to try to tackle in 2021?
I'm not a resolution person, but if you'll give me a minute, I have a book that's kind of related that I want to share.
Bring it on out. I'll stir my chicken. I'll let everybody know while you're going to get that, what that looks like inside the pan. So I just threw all that in there, put some sauce in there as well, and just mixing that up. So I think I might want to try those cookies though. So I'm hoping maybe you share one and just put it in the bag. I'll take the one that has the most icing and the most sprinkles on it. So if you feel as though any of those won't work for you, just put them in a bag and I'll find a way to come get them.
Actually, are you at the art center currently, or are you at home?
I do wander back and forth, so I'll be up there a little later this afternoon and then probably tomorrow as well. So
I think I can make that happen.
Well, I appreciate that. It was a very subtle hint. I'm glad you picked up on that. All right, number 7, resolutions. Here we go.
Okay, yes. So no resolutions per se, but I've been reading this book called Write It Down and Make It Write It Down, Make It Happen. It might be backwards for you, but it's by Henriette Ann Clouser. And great. She writes about the power of writing things down. And so she talks about basically like write down what your goals, hopes, dreams are, and don't like limit yourself, believe in what you're writing, if you will. And she just gives examples of people doing just that and, chasing their dreams and achieving their dreams because they first, had the courage to write them down. And so just kind of been working through that myself, but it's really interesting. There's a person who's found love. There's a person who wrote their own play and went to Italy and all types of different things. And so just figuring out like, what is it that I want, not just for 2021, but like the future, and putting pen to paper, believing in it, setting it, in ink.
Yeah, sounds like another great resource as well. Is that available everywhere on Kindles and digital, or is it a hard book to track down?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it might be harder to track down, but I also feel like you probably could find it on Amazon or online in general. It was published in 2000. So yeah, I think folks should be able to find it.
Well, we'll see if we can't get some links in the comments and see if we can't guide people towards that as well. So now, are you just decorating one cookie, or are you going to try to plate all these up? How's your presentation going to look here in a few minutes?
I plated 4. There's 5 more. Oh, one broke. A couple broke. There's 2 whole for one. But I'm plating them, yes. I will decorate the last couple, and then we'll show them off in a minute.
Fair enough. All right. So I'm curious, what helpful community resources are you seeing and or using personally or professionally? Now, I know you've mentioned a couple within your own organization. Are there some others out there that you have seen that are useful to people? And how can your organization be assisted or provide assistance to other people that are in need this holiday season?
Yeah, great questions. So I noticed that the Near South Side did a grant, I think is what it technically was. They were providing financial support to those in need in the community. And I just have to give them a shout out because I live in the Near South Side. So, hey y'all, go Megan Henderson and team. There has also what is it called? Sorry, I didn't prep this part. I think it's Funky Town Fridge. And that is a resource that's available to folks who are experiencing food scarcity and are able to go to this location. And I'll get a link for you for this too, Jason. But they can get, I believe, fresh and non-perishable food items, as well as folks have put in other resources that are helpful, like feminine hygiene products. And so communities really looking out for each other, which is just incredible to see anytime, but especially this year. Folks in Tarrant County can utilize our economic mobility services financial coaching. So our team does financial coaching through the year, and they have a monthly financial clinic and actually I'm using it myself. So it's, I would say, a great resource. I've been using it for a couple of months now. You can work with a financial coach to increase your income, increase your savings, increase your credit score, or to decrease your debt. So kind of the basics, but the basics are foundational for a reason, right? So I think, and then the last one I would say is our early childhood education. So if folks are looking for high quality education for their kiddos 5 and under, you can reach out about that at our downtown location. I'll get a link for that as well. So folks who are looking can get more information about that.
Awesome. Some great resources out there. Now, again, I want to get this right, because you are not just involved with that, you're involved with all kinds of advocacy and taking care of folks. So I just want to mention a couple of other things here, and was curious if you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about them, because they do sound, again, like just some fantastic opportunities. Do you mind talking a little bit about All Girls Considered, and also the Trinity Collaborative?
Yes, absolutely. I'll start with the Trinity Collaborative. I was graciously asked to join their advisory committee a couple of months ago, and we support among other local events, the May Fest, and just events that support the health and vibrancy of the Trinity River and Trinity Park. And so as I mentioned, love taking walks, and as we want to keep our local green spaces looking good and well maintained, I'm grateful to be able to support them in that capacity. And then All Girls Considered is a board that I joined last month, actually. And so that is run by this amazing woman, Jen Dean. She used to teach in Austin, in Leander, actually, and now she is in Kansas City. And so All Girls Considered's mission is to put girls and women identified individuals at the center of every story. So through podcasting, girls in school have the opportunity to lead workshops. And so they're able to, at this time where many of them are trying to find their voice, figure out what that looks like and educate others in the process. And so really excited to be able to support them in continuing their programming, helping them with fundraising, and just staying connected in the community and continuing to grow their out of school programming.
Nice, very nice. Just some fantastic work. And one final little pitch. It looks like you are also connected to our own Arts Council, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I've been on the board for a couple of years now. And man, y'all do such incredible work. I am so grateful to be a part of it. The Heart of Gold this year, I feel like, was one of many examples of y'all finding ways to pivot, and with it being at Coyote Drive-In. I love what we're doing right here, Jason, keeping people engaged, and just y'all are doing a great job of keeping folks in the community engaged and aware of not just what you're doing, but what other local arts organizations are doing. So thank you.
Very gracious, because folks like you give us a mission, they give us direction, and certainly help guide us as to what it is we're trying to do, which is just simply platform artists and let them know that they have a voice here in the community. So, all right. So here is the most important question of the entire interview. How and where do we keep up with you and the great things that you have going on?
Yeah, y'all can follow me here on Facebook. Again, my name is Tyler Grant, so pretty easy search, or LinkedIn, as we mentioned earlier, for father-daughter fundraising content. I guess that's it. I'm on Instagram at Miss Tyler Renee, and I feel like I'm on a podcast. Like, follow, share, subscribe to me. I think those are the main ones. And then, and I would be a bad donor relations manager if I didn't say, please consider making your end of the year gift to Center for Transforming Lives at transforminglives.org/donate.
Absolutely. Do you have all your holiday shopping done?
I do, kind of. So a couple of my gifts are going to be gifts in honor of folks to a local nonprofit. So I just need to, type that up essentially. So technically, yes.
Awesome. And that's a great way to give as well. All right, Tyler, we've reached presentation time. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, here we go. You want to go first? Or you want me to? I'm sure yours is going to look a lot better than mine.
Oh, stop. I'll just go for it. Eek. Okay, they're kind of sliding around. This is a little awkward, but here they are.
Beautiful. I love the confetti. They look absolutely delicious. Here are my little barbecued chicken sliders. So you can see that chopped up chicken and barbecue sauce there. Wow. And I'm very excited to have some, I guess northern barbecue would be today's word. So.
Well, bon appetit.
Indeed, same to you. And with that being said, any final thoughts as we move into the holiday weeks here for anybody out there watching today?
No, but I guess I just want to say thank you all for watching, and Jason, thank you and the team for having me. This has been so much fun.
Absolutely my pleasure. And we wish you, everyone out there, happy holidays. And, we will be back next week with a special surprise. So tune back in Monday, the 28th at noon for one more box lunch episode to wrap up 2020. And so we're just so grateful to everyone, and certainly wish everyone a happy holiday. Be safe out there, folks. Love yourself, love the people around you. And with that being said, happy holidays to everyone. And we will see you guys soon. All right. Bon appetit, everybody. Tyler, thank you so much. Everybody have a great day out there, and we'll see you real soon. Bon
Happy
appetit.
holidays, y'all.
Bye, everybody.